Hello, everyone. So today we're going to be beginning our poetry unit. Now, I know that many of you probably still have work from last week, since we gave out those a little late. That was just review work. I don't want you to worry about that work. Move on. Focus on the work that I post this week. We're having new lessons, and I want you to put your full attention on what I post this week for reading and math. So today we're going to start our poetry unit. And the lesson that I want to teach you today is a lyrical poem, is a song-like poem that has rhythm and sometimes rhyme. And we're going to ask ourselves a few questions and analyze a couple poems to kind of figure out what I'm talking about. So the first poem that we're going to read is called Listen for Me. And while we're reading Listen for Me, I want you to ask yourselves these questions. What do you notice about what do you notice about how the lines of the poem sound? And what do they make you feel like doing? So, what do you notice about how the lines of the poem sound? And what do they make you feel like doing? So, those are some questions we're going to ask and answer while reading this poem. So, again, this poem is titled Listen for Me. Listen for me on a spring night, on a wet night, on a rainy night. Listen for me on a still night, for in the night I sing. That is when my heart thaws, my skin thaws, my hunger thaws. That is when the world thaws and the air begins to rain. I creep up from the cold pond, the ice pond, the winter pond. I creep up from the chill pond to breathe the warming air. I cling to the green reeds, the damp reeds, the muddy reeds. I cling to the slim reeds. My brothers are everywhere. My throat swells with spring love, with rain love, with water love. My throat swells with peeper love. My song is high and sweet. Listen for me on a spring night, on a wet night, on a rainy night. Listen for me tonight, and I'll sing you to sleep. So let's go ahead and let's analyze that poem that we just read. There we go. So again, our questions were, what do you notice about how the lines of the poem sound, and what do they make you feel like doing? Now, these questions are actually asking you about rhythm. And I want you to think about your answers. Here are my answers. When I listen to this song, when I listen to this poem, they make me feel like clapping along. They also remind me of a song. It feels like a song. And feels like the poem has a beat. So, all of these things are things that can be categorized as rhythm. It makes me feel like clapping along. It feels like a song. It feels like the poem has a beat. As I was reading with a rhythm. Think about one of your favorite songs that you can instantly just clap to. That's the rhythm in the song. And just like with songs, poems have rhythm as well, if they're a lyrical poem. Now, let's go ahead and let's look at rhyme. Most of you know or can give me an example of a rhyming word. Poems can have rhyme as well. And we're going to look at another poem that has an example of rhyme. I'm just going to switch out my books here. So this poem is called Love. And after reading this poem, I want you to ask yourself this question. What do you notice about how some of the words sound in the poem? So again, this is Snake's Lullaby. Brother, sister, flick your tongue and taste the flakes of autumn sun. Use these last few hours of gold to travel and travel toward the cold. Before your coils grow stiff and dull, your heartbeat slows to winter's lull. Seek the sink of sheltered stones that safely cradle sleeping bones. Brother, sister, find the ways. back to the deep and tranquil bays, and round each other twist and fold to weave a heavy cloak of cold. So I bet while we were reading that, you instantly noticed some rhyming words. Let's go ahead and get a few on our board. So let's get some examples of rhyme. So some that stood out to me were gold and cold. We had blow and slow. We had dull and lull, and there were many, many more. If you have time, go back in the video to where I'm reading the poem. See if you can find some more examples. Now, a lyrical poem, it's always going to have some type of rhythm, and it's only sometimes going to have some rhyme. And today, for your work, you're going to analyze some lyrical poems. I'm going to go ahead and show you what your work looks like. This will all be posted under Google Class, and you do not have to worry about making your own copy. Your own copy will be posted there. So the first assignment, you're going to analyze this poem called What Do the Trees Know? And you're going to fill out this chart. The first question is, what parts of this poem show rhythm? And then, why do you think this poem has rhyme? And I want you to give some examples as well. And then finally, you're going to answer this question. And this question is worth the most points. How do rhythm and rhyme help develop the structure of the poem you analyzed? Explain your reasoning below. So that's your first assignment. Your second assignment is like a group assignment. You see, everybody's name is listed here. I have this question. The question is the poem you read today a lyrical poem? How can you tell it is or it isn't? There's a poem list right here, and you're going to pick one of these 5 poems to read. Simply pick your favorite, the one that you want to analyze. And you're going to answer that question in the box that matches with your name. You see, I have a box too. I'm going to post an example answer later in the week. And then finally, I want you to go ahead and write your own lyrical poem. Think about it as if you were writing a song or a rap. It doesn't need to be very long. I just want you to make it something that matters to you. In your assignments today, you'll notice some other things posted. These are things like review work, iReady, and a couple of different websites that I want you to check out. If you have any questions, you know you can email me. You can ask your parents to call me. I will answer. We can Skype if we need to. I hope you all have a wonderful day.